This is not a test. You are listening to Universal Connection Radio, where everyone is on the same frequency. Recording. Hi guys, welcome to another show. Today we have Joel and Katy Mejia with us, and they are the producers and creators of a documentary movie called Time is Art. Hi guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you.
You're excited to be here, for sure.
Yeah.
It's something that, with UCR, Universal Connection Radio, a lot of what we do, or our basis, is sharing the knowledge that we're learning with each other to make our journey that little bit easier. And that's why when I watched your movie, I was like, yes, I loved it. I really loved it. It was great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to take compliments sometimes when you're just like, hoping people are motivated and inspired. And I think that that's definitely what we've gotten from most people there. They want to go and do stuff after they watch it, sort of injected them with like inspiration. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you, yeah.
Very cool. And to further this, you guys, your awakening, was it inspired like way before you began looking for somebody to do this documentary on, or how did it all come about?
Well, I have had awakenings, they're stages of awakenings. I just had one this past weekend at my vision quest. I had another awakening, and I think that this film sort of was the stage that we were at in terms of self-realization.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that a lot of the things in the film, honestly, people know about them, but it's not until you put it in this film context, the same way as until you put it into a book or a magazine, or you have to somehow package it for people in a way.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what we did, but it's really a story about our journey too. It really is. The way we made the film was through synchronicity. So that was our like little game, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try this out and see how this works,
Yeah.
And it worked, and the whole film really the funding, everything. I would say was a lot of synchronicity and serendipity, guided by the Time is Art ethos, mm-hmm. which Jose Arguelles, who we shout out at the end of the film, really was about the Time is Art concept, and that's why I think that film is resonating a lot with people too, because time is not money. People really are like, ooh, time is art. Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
To that, right?
Yeah, being more creative in everything that we do just to make ends meet. People are now holding down multiple, income streams and, doing the sharing economy, which is like, to me, kind of what the ethos of Time is Art's exchanging my creative skill or know-how or understanding for something you do, and I think that that's what kind of inspired the film itself. And then as far as the inspiration for the for our spiritual journey, like he said for me, synchronicity is kind of part of my like spiritual understanding of how the world works. Mm-hmm. People say nothing is coincidence, and everything sort of has some level of meaning. Of course you can give it you can give meaning to something that may not really have any meaning, or you can give meaning to something that is really a substantial signpost in your life. And and that's kind of what it's all about in the film for Jennifer. She's sort of like, was a skeptic and really came, full circle in the film. And then for us, I kind of was more, I felt like I was literally like a Buddhist at age 13. I sort of like was kind of tapped in and kind of understood things like, in Texas, there's a lot of like, go to church. And I was just talking to Joel about how weird it was in Texas, where they're like, you go to these churches and they're like, you need to accept Jesus Christ into your heart. And I would just be like, what does that mean? And then try to do it. And then I remember telling him yesterday how I like faked it one time because I just wanted them to get off my back because I never felt anything. Like, it's not like I didn't appreciate Jesus and Buddha and all these different people that did great things. I do, but I just couldn't, I wasn't feeling what all these other people were feeling. And I don't know, maybe they were faking it too, or maybe they were actually feeling it. But I always felt like it was inside of me, and I couldn't understand this like exterior world view that they all had, that everything had to come through another person.
Separation.
Separation. And it was like the weirdest thing to me. So, you know, I kind of always knew it early on what it really meant, which was like the film is really all about just like inner awakening and like discovering who you are, and what Alan Watts talks about. You know, it's very taboo in this world to like go inside because of Christianity and like Catholicism and all these like different things that are saying, okay, you know, everything's outside of us, and like you got to go through this person and this channel, like in order for you to like grow and expand. And so, you know, I think that that's really what resonates in the film too. Most people kind of feel that, but may or may not know how to, like Joel said, it's been packaged in a way that kind of makes sense of a lot of these different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love the way it flowed. It just kept flowing and into and onto the next. And I felt it. And I also felt that Jennifer's journey, it's all of us. It's each and every one of us. We're all on that journey. Nobody knows 100% what it's all about. We're still, every day I'm learning. And every day I'm looking for that person who can say to me, well, have you looked at it this way? Or what about this, Roxanne? There's a possibility. And that bubble gum for me to start chewing on again, and that feeling to come. And it's a beautiful movie. It really is. Now, Katy, you said that you actually released it on 11/11.
Yeah, we had set that deadline for, you know, I guess we had set it pretty early because of it's just, you know, obviously like folks are getting that kind of like download of seeing that, and that I call it the correcting time. And like I see that a lot of people around the world are trying to figure out what that's all about. And we, you know, and I remember there was this other movie, Thrive, which, you know, has a huge like social media presence and movement, even though it came out. But I just looked at it yesterday, and it was funny because I reached out to them because I was like, hey, you know, maybe you could share the trailer on social media or something. Because we were going to put out 11 minutes and 11 seconds on Day at a Time, which is it's Mayan dream spell calendar. You know, it's based on the moons instead of the Gregorian calendar. So July 25th is actually the day out of time to like you know, balance out the calendar. Yeah. And so we were going to put out that just the first 11 minutes, 11 seconds of the film, you know, to get people interested that maybe haven't seen it. And that date, they also released their film but they released their film on November 11th, 2011, which I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that. But because back then I kind of wasn't getting that message, but Jennifer in the film was getting it, and like, you know, and it was funny because during the making of the film we didn't totally understand, and like literally like you're talking about how you keep learning every day. Part of making the film was also us learning what was going on and what synchronicity was, because Joel was actually new to what synchronicity was, and I had been researching it for a while. I had been really into Carl Jung, and like I was like following all his stuff, and I had been like reading and you know, tapping into that kind of frequency and like talking to people about it and things like that. And he was learning what it was as we were kind of doing it. And it was very interesting how that was just part of like the discovery process, just like Jennifer kind of discovering who she was and how she was going to overcome her issues and the things that she was going through. And, you know,
the cool thing about that 11/11 date too was that it was both practical and magical. You know, it just felt right.
So we had to set a deadline.
That it come out on 11/11. It just felt right. But then it was like, how in the bleep are we going to do this? You know?
Really. Deadlines.
You know, we were totally just like, you know, trying to make deadlines.
Really
and everything that could go wrong went wrong.
It pretty much,
You know, and but it worked out so lovely. And like one of the folks, you talk about like things that could go wrong. We screened it in Guatemala, right? And these two folks, these two friends that I had met once. I met one of them once, and then that person that she met was totally all about the film. And they had to go somewhere deep into some town in Guatemala to go to like an internet store because the lights went out.
A phone store where they just jacked the internet and downloaded the film. It took them 4 hours. Wow. That's how like into it they were, because they had planned this whole thing, and it was like, it looked awesome what they had done, and it would have been terrible if everyone shows up and then they don't even have film, because we were
working on the subtitles.
We were looking on the Spanish subtitles. He did them in 24 hours too.
It took like, I had to, we were so burnt out and stuff, but
wow,
just trying to get it done, but it all worked out. There was like a complete blackout.
Yeah,
they got it downloaded, but then there was a blackout.
In Guatemala, they lose the power all the time, so.
And then like an hour or two before the screening, it came back.
Amazing.
But they said they went to a store, like one of those just like, whatever, cellular stores, and they just jacked their internet and downloaded it from a computer. They acted like they were interested in a phone or something, and then just like downloaded
So, it's stuff like that.
That's great. Awesome.
That guided the whole thing, But that kind of filmmaking is not for the uninitiated, and it took us at least a year to sort of figure it out, because it just felt kind of discombobulated and all that. But then eventually it was like, oh, okay, we're being guided, just flow with it. And you'll know that there's a time when you gotta stop, and everything sort of led us there, When we had roadblocks, we had tools that we used to sort of, unblock us, and and we have what we have now. So we really appreciate your kind words, for real, because we feel, we could still be working on it right now. Katie's still obsessed with the way the audio sounds.
Yeah, it was really tough. We didn't.
I think it's perfect. I think, and of course, you're going to feel that way about it because you're the ones with the hands-on, and you're saying, no, I could fix this. No, it's absolutely beautiful. It's perfect. I loved it. I began watching it the day you sent it to me, Katy, and then all kinds of things began here at home, and I said, oh, God, I can't. I want to watch it. And then last night, I took my laptop up to bed, and I put my headphones in, and I started watching it, and I basically stayed up until 2 o'clock in the morning watching it. I couldn't not finish it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it caught me. I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. It's just so us.
And it is, and I think that what was really fun is screening it in a theater. We were able through this it's like a theater on demand platform. There's so many cool things going on right now.
Yeah,
it's kind of like crowdfunding, but you get your movie in the theater, and we sold it out in New York City, and we could have had a bigger theater and had way more people, but like whatever. It was just one of those glitchy things. It seemed like this perpetual glitchy thing, but it was great. We sold out, and the theater experience was really dramatic, and people stood up and clapped, and for us, like being delirious and like working up until the 19th hour, it was like the greatest thing. I was like in shock, and we were up till 4 a.m. that night talking to people, and the conversations we were having, just it ignited all these crazy conversations, and it was so worth it. It's so worth the sacrifices that you make to do things like this in life.
That's actually one of the questions that I was going to ask you guys. The feedback, the response, the reaction. What is the most touching for you guys that someone has said to you, or even just seeing someone's face after walking away from watching it? What would you say would be?
People, I think, overwhelmingly in our group is already sort of moving in that direction.
Right, of course.
But they were all like, yeah, this is confirmation for me, that people are waking up and that this stuff needs to get out there and that I'm not alone. And
yeah,
you know, like you said, you connect with Jennifer in a way that you feel like she's just like anyone. You know, she's not. There's nothing extra special about her or anything. You know, she's just like any one of us.
Yeah,
still searching. And you know, and one of the things about the film is that I don't think we sort of say what something you know, concretely is. I think what we try to say is like, you know, there is something else, and it's up to you to just go and search for that
and find it. Yeah,
you know, and find it. But don't tell me that there's not. That's it. You know what I mean? That this is all there is, and
no,
I'm gonna die, and it's all cut off, and there's no intelligence in nature, and you can't tell me that. And you know, for sure
we put that in there.
You know,
yeah.
we're sort of, you know, I guess that's the one thing that we're pushing is that we're not atheists, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's just get that straight. Yeah,
it's,
There's this intelligence.
But we're not saying he's Jesus or it's, you know, we're not saying any of that. We're just
you're just saying that it's universal. God is everywhere. It's
and it's really about your purpose in life. Like we had, we pretty much had like mostly, you know, the media that covered it was nothing mainstream. You know, nobody was really in acceptance of it outside of like, you know, like art and, you know, magazines and things like that. But this one person did a review in Australia, and it was I could tell she was like, it was kind of like a semi-hipster-ish magazine or whatever, and she was like, you know, totally following it, and then at one point it got to the crop circles, and she was like, but of course those are bogus, but then the rest of the film is great. And it was just like funny because I knew someone was gonna like do that, you know, and I was just like, okay, you know, but we didn't put it in there to the extent where it's like thrown in your face. Like you can decide on your own. I mean, it never says that it's just one person's conversation and his work, his life's work, you know, and the things that he's interested in and how he ties it in to the fact that there's this intelligence that's alive everywhere. You know, through art, we get all these messages, and people are constantly doing, you know, amazing art. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, what is that? And now that I have this background and this understanding of philosophy, you know, and spirituality and metaphysics and all these things, I can understand, I can see what's in people's art. I can like read the symbols and read what they're saying now. Because before making the film, I went to art school, but I was, you know, more of a transmedia artist where I was doing like video and audio, but I'm very into graphics and visuals and things. But I never really, it just didn't really connect. The dots weren't really connected as to where all of these ideas come from. And most of it is divine inspiration. Like with Graham Hancock, he says that in the film. He's like, it's just tapping into the divine inspiration. That's how we come up with these incredible paintings or these songs. And, you know, we definitely tapped into that to make this, even though it was technically about that. Yeah. We still had to really reach and dig deep to like complete this project because it was extremely challenging, and we were also, you know, really excited about it. So we were going above and beyond because it was just like we were so passionate about it.
Yes, I know.
Like Joel said, by the end of it, it was just like, my God, we have to stop. Like this has to end, and that's why we're doing another film. So that's kind of why it's good for us to get out and start talking more on radio shows, because we did a lot during the Indiegogo.
Yeah. But
because we were trying to get people interested in it, now that we were so inspired, the second part of the documentary, because it's really a series, is similar to what we did with Jennifer and her story, but it's going to be a different person who's a musician, and it's all about him talking to other women, kind of about how the divine feminine is sort of trying to come back into, you know,
nice.
Most people that are really, you know, getting back kind of in sync with nature and getting their life together in balance. A lot of them are called to like try to understand what that means, you know, and I say it's not necessarily like a matriarchal society is going to rule the world, and like just because a politician says, you know, is a woman doesn't mean, you know, anything. It just means that there's a balance between the yin and the yang, you know, and like Joel calls it the right and the left brain balance. Yeah. You know, like the practical groundedness mixed with the creative. No, he didn't come up with the video. He's just been talking a lot about that. Yeah. You know, we always have these conversations going, and then they always inform the documentaries that we're working on. So
yeah, the second part It's, that's the other thing. It's like, now that I think about it, if the first part showed us anything, is that we don't know how we're gonna even do the second part. We just kind of like know that right now it's about this idea of finding the divine feminine, and having that get nurtured in this shifting society that we're in, and shifting world really that we're in, which every prophecy, the Hopi is what we really reference, but every major prophecy has something to do with transformation. Even the Christian, that fire next time, fire really is transformation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that is movement. And Katie and I wrote an article about the shift from this Kali Yuga, that we're in, back into the upward flow of the cycle, And it's really interesting when you look at the picture of the yugas. If you're not familiar with the yugas, they're like the different cycles: Golden Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. The ones,
the Vedas,
the one that we're in, are the shortest ones. They're really short, but they're very accelerated. And a lot of people talk about that, how they feel things are accelerating and moving faster, and while that is true, I think also what is happening is that we're getting all of the crap that's been sitting at the bottom, rising up as well in full view, and it's no longer can it be hidden from those that are awakening. You know what I mean? And so it's just more and more, it's like mushrooms growing out, you know what I mean? And it's really interesting because a lot of people would think that we're hidden even lower, we're going even lower, but I see it as like the last stand.
I think so too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like their last sort of like show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're all just sitting here like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's
and
amazing.
This film, those are the people that are going to look for this film. And you talk about the reaction. What I love is that we didn't get into all that stuff. As much as it like feels like, okay, man, it would have been awesome to get into some cool festivals and all that, right?
Yeah.
But grassroots, the people that have seen it and like what they feel and what they want to do, is what it's all about for me. Like, I want this feeling, this thing to ride for like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, in Australia, it's screened like 5 different times, and it's been like, people in Australia where the Aborigines are, which are like the original sort of like tapped in, people, that energy must be still, very much resonating because it really has been very popular in Australia and then England, and there's just a lot of people in France. We've had a guy, translate the entire film in French, in Portuguese, and Russian. We just haven't had time to do the titles.
Wow.
But, yeah, because we have to buy some piece of software, and it's just like, whatever. But at some point, we'll do that, and more people will get to see it in different languages, and it's just been blossoming. I mean, slowly but surely through grassroots and just social media. And the amount of like memes that I see and the massive followings on social media, people that are awakening to like some of this insane corruption and the lies and deceit and how the government, operates. And it's just, it's just amazing that, that there are this many people, and it might not seem like they even exist, but if you get on, social media, you really can tell that there is a force, and people say it's less than 50% is still, or 25% is awake. I mean, people are doing these percentages like only 25% is really awakened and the rest are still programmed. And you're just kind of like, I mean, who knows what it is? Yeah. You can't possibly tell.
You can't know. But that's another thing that I love about your movie. You're not blaming anybody for us being blind. Everybody's awakening comes when it comes. It's not like it's something you can force on somebody. You can trigger it, but you can't blame another person for how you've been or how you've been thinking, because they were thinking the same way, and their parents were thinking the same way, and it goes back and it goes back. Like Joel was saying, it's very deep. All of it is very deep. The good and I won't call it the bad, because there's always that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the duality. I mean, people say that the technosphere is what Jose Gais talks about, which is like the duality, where you're like the Kali with the yugas. It's the same thing. We're moving out of this like technological era, and it's a struggle for us to move out of it, because in order for us to have this, Skype and your iPhone and all these great things that we have in our lives, we had to go through the industrial age when the struggle and the people are working and, children are being enslaved so that, we can wear our cheap clothes and all these different things. Like, we're kind of going through that, but we're awakening to that and how that's imbalancing the planet. But it's just a struggle. Even though it's a fast process, it's a struggle to break free of the technosphere into like what he calls the new sphere, which is like, where we're just more in sync with nature and how nature works, because it's incredible how it works. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, the Fibonacci, sequence that's in everything, and like, a walnut is like the shape of your brain, and like all these different things that like connect, and it's mind blowing. It is. It's
mind blowing, and most people just miss this. They just miss it, and it's something that when they do see it, it's like awakening, saying, wow.
Exactly.
That aha moment of, oh my God, I am so fortunate to be here in this moment right now under this magnificent tree that is just alive, and it's there. I'm part of it. Okay, I'm not a hippie. Maybe I am. I don't know. But
we always tell our parents that we're like, oh, I'm too hippie for you.
I mean,
our parents are like, what are you doing? We're like, we're hippies. Just
we're hippies. Let us go.
Yeah, I mean, those things.
We're not really.
I was thinking about that today. And there's a lot of things that continue to stigmatize our progress, and part of it is that the hippie thing and New Age label, and even spirituality is sort of stigmatizing people, and it allows that separation again.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And
yes, it does.
And I laugh for sure, but it's like getting more and more away from having any labels.
Yes.
And just like, I'm just, at the core, I'm a learner. I'm an empty vessel, listening and flowing in the current, and that's it.
Absorbing. I love it. I do. And I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, even with our music, we've been putting out music for a while. We're actually putting out a new album, and it's called Soul Technology. Some of the music that's in the film, there's a lot of amazing artists on the soundtrack. And we have a film soundtrack that it comes with the film if you want to download what we call a True Seekers package. It's like people that want to get the bonus scenes, because there's 5 bonus scenes. Okay. We shot so much amazing stuff that couldn't make it in the film. So we did all these bonus scenes on the on-demand package, and that's on our website. If you go to thesyncmovie.com and go to the store/store, you can look into what you can get with the True Seeker, because it also includes the film soundtrack, which has some of our music on it, and then all these other amazing people that contributed. And with our music, what really bothered me in the beginning when we first were getting reviews and people were I remember somebody was like, this new age band, da da da, and I'm like, that's so strange that out of nowhere, that they just, for whatever reason, even the music just, I mean, I would never call it that, and never even occurred to me. And I'm not saying that that's whatever, but it was just such a funny thing. And then something recently,
Leave it to the media.
Yeah. And I was like, oh God. And then it hurt. It kind of was painful, because then, you start to get pigeonholed with that.
Yes,
and it was funny. Somebody else posted something and they called it a new age trip band or something. Another one, or what did they say? Trip.
Yeah, a new
trip age band or something. I'm like,
new trip band.
I was like, what? It's just,
oh God.
Because people for some reason we're programmed to think that if anything is conscious, and I call it conscious music.
They connect it.
It has to be.
Yeah.
anything that has anything to do with God or there being a universal intelligence or something, not an atheist, has to be either New Age or whatever, you know. And it was just funny because I don't even necessarily talk about God in our music, but I guess people can sense the spirituality of it or something, and so they just think that it's like New Age, and it's like just funny to me because the same thing happened with the film. You know, I remember somebody was screening it at a Carl Jung Center because it's screened like literally all over the place. Like right now we've got another one in Baltimore. And talk about a synchronicity. We had 2 people wanting to do a screening in Baltimore 2 days apart from each other. So they ended up having to cancel one of them because I was like, the town's not big enough to like get it, you know.
Oh, wow.
And one was like an art center and one's a theater. Anyway, just there's always some interesting stuff going on with the screenings, and I'm always talking to people and helping people. And you know, there's another one that's going to be in like Columbus, Ohio, and it's just very interesting how people find it and then they want to share it, which is what it's all about. I mean,
that's exactly it. And
if people want to call it New Age, fine. But you know, even at this Carl Jung Center, the lady was like, well, it's kind of a little New Ageist, and I was like, have you seen it? Have you watched it? Because she might have seen the trailer and somehow, and then once she watched it, she kind of was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm not really getting that from it, you know? But anytime anybody's talking about anything, you know, that has anything to do with like I said, something that might be beyond supernatural or beyond the physical realm, it's suddenly New Age, you know? Oh, it's just...
I know. And it all comes from this this belief that's embedded. Anything that's new now has to fit into these categories. And of course, your movie, your documentary, I can honestly say I cannot categorize it. It's just it stands out on its own, and I'm so grateful to both of you for what you've done. I think it's beautiful, and I think that so many people are going to benefit from watching it and just feeling, and also coming on to UCR and talking with me about it. It's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sharing and enlightening and helping one another, and that's what you guys are doing, and it's beautiful. And I can, from the moment we said hello, I was like, oh, there's Katy and there's Joel. Okay, cool.
It'd be past my bedtime right now.
Yeah, we have a 3-month-old, so she's just she's up at the crack of dawn. But
that's our next creation.
Yeah,
we it's funny. We had the film. Katy was like 5 months pregnant. We had like half the album finished.
That took us like 4 years.
It's a continuous process of creativity, and I love the quote, to get closer to the creator, create.
Yes.
You know? And it's like, that's all I want to do is create. And it's not just limited to quote unquote art, right? Because creating community for me is as vital as creating that meditation space.
Yes.
You know, that is, I'm all alone. Like I said, I just came back from Vision Quest, and that...
Explain what a Vision Quest is in case people don't know.
Well, a Vision Quest, the way we did it, I am of Dominican descent. My parents are from the Dominican Republic. And on those islands in the Caribbean, there were people called the Taínos. A lot of people don't know too much about the Taínos, but they were part of the Arawak sort of nation, but they did vision quests that lasted 24 hours. Some lasted longer, up to 4 days without any water or food. So a hard fast, and you're sitting alone in a space that has 28 stones. And
in nature, but you're close to the person
who's
watching
solitude,
you, but you're in solitude, totally in the forest.
And it allows, I believe, for a letting go that's important. It has the effect of bringing up things that we fear. It could be during the day or during the darkness. but everything imaginable comes up, especially when you're alone, when you have to be alone and you have to confront things.
Your mind.
Yeah, you know, you eventually realize that you're just there. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I keep talking about this poster that I saw for Tarzan. The movie Tarzan, I guess, is coming out, and it's the poster. It has like a man, and it has the words human dot nature dot. You know, and I was like, what? Humans are nature.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And
That's right.
like they set you up right away. You know, like human versus nature, you know, and a lot of the shows on reality, you know, you're fighting nature, and like our whole thing right now is that we're totally destroying nature.
Yeah.
That to me is a bit arrogant.
Isn't it?
A bit arrogant, because it's like, we are going to destroy nature. Nature can just wipe us out immediately with a quick tsunami, you know, thunderstorms, you know. I mean, you look at some of the, you know, there's some cities that get totally shut down over a blizzard. You know what I mean?
We were shut down for 3 weeks in Red Hook because of Hurricane Sandy. I mean, there was no power for 3 weeks.
You know what I mean? Nature can just get rid of us like that.
Oh, easy.
Yes,
easy.
We are doing a terrible thing to the planet. There was a terrible statistic. We've lost like half of the species count in like 100 years. You know
100 years.
In 100 years, we lost half of all the species.
On the planet.
You know, I mean that's ridiculous. Obviously,
it is. It is. But
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I personally feel that it's something that can be rectified and fixed by nature. Every time. Anything that we do can be fixed. Not saying that it's okay to do what we do.
Right.
But I believe that it can be fixed because it's the cosmic intelligence. It knows what to do. Same as if we tap in, we know what to do.
Correct.
Right?
That's exactly the point, right? You know? So that, I mean, I recommend solitude. And I mean, celibacy. There's a reason for all these things, you know, not eating and fasting and all of that, because I believe in the spiritual arts. You know, that is what this film also represents. Is like these are spiritual arts.
Yes.
You know, tools that we can use for our own development. You know,
even personal. The ayahuasca.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the plant intelligence factor.
Plant medicine is huge.
And food as medicine. I would love to.
Food is huge.
This next film that we're doing, the subject, you know, the young boy, really. I mean, he's like 22. I call me young boy.
Young man.
Sorry,
yes.
I'm like getting old, so I'm like young boy. Young man,
the young boy.
You know, it really is our youth. You know, we do youth media too. Some of the stuff that we do is really about educating the youth because that's what's next. That's who can help balance things out. So it's all about kind of with this next film trying to tap into sort of the younger audience. And with him, he's all about like food is medicine. I mean, he's obsessed with food as medicine. Like he works at this juice press and the food that he eats and how he's so high all day, you know, without smoking pot or doing anything from these fresh juices. And, you know, food is medicine and plants are like sort of, you know, people are really getting back into gardening. You know, people are really wanting to like, you know, I feel the definite understanding of permaculture in our lives now more than ever. I've always like seen it as kind of like, oh, it's this permaculture thing. Right. Now I get that. Yeah. You know, I think there's a lot of that we want to put in the next film too, because that's
especially the cooking stuff.
Yeah, and exactly the idea of just like being able to just grow, you know, some spinach. I mean, it grows. You know, it's pretty easy to. We're growing on our roof right now, and I mean, it's not a lot, but at least we know. Okay, it grows pretty easy.
You know what it looks like now.
We know what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, you know, just the little things that we can do, and I think we're inspired. You know, with synchronicity, with the plant intelligence idea, with philosophy, the spiritual arts, the visual arts, music, you know, all these different things are kind of what we brought together in the movie. And that's why it continues to keep going. I mean, the idea of this prophecy of when the grandmothers speak, the earth will be healed. It's the idea that we get that feminine, that right brain mentality, the intuitive side of
the nurturing,
the way our brain works. Get that going some more. Get that coming back, because instead of having this like Wall Street masculine, kind of like machismo thing that's happening in all these different ways, if we could just like, I'm not saying we're going to totally suppress that, because we all have to have like, the strength and the warrior, qualities. But we just it just needs to be more balanced out. So that's the big theme in the film that I think for the next film, that I feel like that's really crucial for us. Like you said, we can always get back on track. It's never just completely a wash.
Yeah, part of the climate change
I
hysteria,
hate that term, by the way. That term drives me nuts.
That's the thing too. It's like, there's certain elements in this world that thrives on fear.
Oh,
and
yes.
even the good, like, do good action fear, you know what I mean, is still fear. You know what I mean?
It's still fear.
And fear is crippling.
Limiting.
Yeah.
Crippling and limiting.
That terminology is totally limiting. I mean, that word is just absurd, if you ask me. It's ecological destruction or imbalance or disconnection from nature. It's like, why say climate change? I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they have all these people fighting over it if it's the case. And I'm like,
I know.
It's a total just psyops type of thing, because why would that be what we need to fight over? No, we need to figure out solutions to the clear and present danger, which is, like Joel said, that 50% of the species have been wiped out, and we have to
we can't drink our water.
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
Like the fracking.
Lots of things that are easy, But I believe and I know that as I witness people and their awakenings through their reactions to the film, that we're going to be fine. You know what I mean? I know personally I'm working on myself as much as possible so that whatever happens, we're prepared and doing what we can. There's no fear, but it's this acknowledgement that there is work to be done.
And we also have...
Go ahead.
We also have children that we're raising.
I
have 2 teenagers, and they are like, what? Why would someone throw garbage out their window as they're driving past? What is wrong with that person? They get it.
Right.
They get it.
Right.
And I'm like...
Right.
Yeah. Good.
You're right.
You did good, Mom. You did a good job.
I have such great faith in the next generation. I really, really do.
It is. We need to have faith in them, and we need to cultivate, them, and we all need to make, sure that we, at least whether we volunteer or do something, are exposed to children and youth, and putting energy towards that, because that's really what it's all about. And like I said, that's why we are inspired to try to the next 2 projects that we want to do. They're actually targeted more at actually young. The other project we have is film that we've been working on, the treatment for it. It's targeted at really young people, 9 and 10, with their parents. So it's like a family thing, because I think almost the kids nowadays, some of them are even more advanced than their parents, and so it's the parents need to learn.
Yes. Yes. And I was about to say that what you guys are doing is handing this to the next generation at this point when they're at that age and saying, this is what's normal. This is what's right.
Right.
Be aware, be awakened, look at the trees, take your shoes off, walk in the grass, step away from television, step away from the game boxes, whatever it is you're doing, feel life. And that's what you guys are showing them with everything that you're doing. I love it. I really do. There is one thing that I hate to end this conversation because it's so cool. But there's one thing that I always, any guest I have on the show, I love to ask, what does universal connection mean to you? Now, either one of you first.
Go ahead, Joel.
Universal connection is everything. I think universal connection, if you wake up saying those words and go to sleep saying those words every day, and you meditate on that universal connection, oh man, that's like the thought experiments.
It is, isn't it?
You know, it's awesome. There's only a few combinations in the English language that create that kind of frequency. You know, universal connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's like good vibrations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can't like not.
Yeah, it's true.
Work out.
Yeah, you can. Connection universal connection.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
It's true. It's good vibrations. And Katie? How about for
Yeah,
you?
I mean, my thing that I was thinking in my head was song lyric. It's like center yourself with the universe. And whenever I get really stressed out, it's the same, that kind of universal connection. Like you said, if you just kind of meditate on that, that's kind of what gets rid of some of the worries that, if you know, the everyday worries, because we're so little, you know, this massive omniverse, you know, and there's, you know, 500 billion galaxies, you know, plus, and it's like, we're just like a grain of sand, you know, on the beach and we can't possibly, you know, comprehend it, but I mean, you can sit there and meditate on that. And to me, that's what I think of. It's like, I can't comprehend the vastness of our omniverse that we live in, and the galaxies and the stars and like the life, you know, that exists. Yeah. But and there's like stars in the background as I'm saying this. I'm like, yeah, on our computer. But that makes me, I think of that. Yeah, and I think of that being something that I can comprehend with just those two words, you know, with the English language. And it's definitely something that, like I said, I like to like think about whenever I'm not having a great day, you know, like center yourself with what there is, and it really is vast and beyond your little lifetime. I mean, not to say that your lifetime is pointless, but I mean, you know, it's just one life and a vast, you know, web of
connected
wheels that are spinning, you know, as you go in and out of cycles of time, and your life, you know, is on multiple realities at the same time as well, you know.
So true. So one more time, your website where the movie can be rented, watched.
Yeah, currently, I think on 11/11 we're probably going to do another like screening type of thing and put it on Amazon and put it on, you know, the kind of more commercial outlets. But for now, we've just been doing it through a distributor called VHX, and they were bought by Vimeo, so it's just a digital distributor. And you can go to our website, thesyncmovie.com. That's THESYNC movie.com. And /watch is how you can rent it. And you can also, like I said, check out the True Seeker package. And it includes 5 bonus scenes, which is like Rupert Sheldrake talking about synchronicity and telepathy, and Graham Hancock's talking about plant intelligence. And we have a couple other people talking about, one person's talking about power places, and, you know, just other kind of interesting things that didn't make it into the film, plus the soundtrack, which is 13, you know, really great songs, including some of our music. Nice. And our band is called Dream Circle, too, and we actually are putting some music out. So you can go to Dream Circle Music to see that, or you can just, you know, get the True Seekers package. And it's really cool, you know, if you want to save trees, but we can also mail you a DVD and a Blu-ray. The Blu-ray has the bonus scenes. The DVD only fit the film. So, you know, and then you can also get the DVD plus the True Seekers package if you want to have it. And then what's also cool about the True Seekers package is you can gift it to 2 people, which is cool, because if you have a friend, you know, that, or your mom or somebody that you want to like know about this stuff or to get exposed to this stuff, you can gift it to them, and they'll probably like be like mind blown. Well, what is this? You know, hopefully they'll watch it.
Awesome.
There is an FAQ, because some people get confused with the on-demand stuff because it is like new-ish, but it's not that difficult once you like, you know, do it a couple of times and you're like, oh, okay, you know, I get this. So
cool. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been wonderful, and it's so nice to meet you. I hope we stay in touch.
Absolutely. Since we're going to be up in Ellenville this weekend, we'll be like 20 minutes away from you. So
that sounds cool.
We'll probably go to New Paltz and hang out or something.
It's so nice there, isn't it?
You know.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is. I love it.
We're kind of... we love
Brooklyn,
but we're like you.
Admit it. You're hippies.
Yeah.
We're hippies. Darn it.
I mean, we could live in Cali if we were really loaded, you know, but my God, it's like, to try to get out there, like, I don't even know.
Get a couple more sales.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna. We'll be out there in September working on the film, and then another way that you can, support us is to go to thesyncmovie.com/support, and we have all these options of ways you can get involved in making the second film and helping us make the second film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, good stuff.
Co-creation.
Co-creation, exactly. Universal connection. All right. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And like I said, we will talk again.
Absolutely.
And
no words.
No words. I'm delighted.
Just blessings. Peace and blessings to the world.
Absolutely.
There.
Absolutely.
Stay in touch with yourself.
Peace, man.
Peace, dude.
All right. Thank you again. We'll talk soon.
Take care.
Blessings.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Universal Connection Radio. Tune into the frequency.